Okay, so welcome everyone. Thank you for joining me for tonight's workshop, which is going to be all about increasing self-love and self-acceptance and inner child healing. So the agenda tonight, we're going to be looking at what is self-love, what is self-acceptance. We're going to be talking about how a lack of self-love and self-acceptance can affect us. So welcome everyone. Thank you for joining me for tonight's workshop, which is going to be all about increasing self. That wasn't good. Okay, we're going to be talking about what causes this lack of self-love and self-acceptance. We're going to be looking at ways you can increase self-love and self-acceptance. Talk about how hypnosis can help, what you can do next, and then at the end, if anyone has any questions, anything you want to know, I'll be opening for questions and comments, anything that you'd like to ask. So, what does self-love mean to you? Let me know in the chat box. Looking after yourself, yeah. Acceptance, accepting yourself as you are. Understanding your needs, yeah. And putting your own needs before other people's. Being okay with whatever you think, yeah. Caring for yourself the way you care for others, yeah. Having enough self-esteem to just be yourself. These are great answers. So, self-love. If you have self-love, you value your own well-being and you know you have a right to be happy. Someone with healthy self-love is able to take care of their own needs. And they can do this without feeling guilt or shame. They're able to put their own needs before other people's needs, and they feel comfortable on their own. A person who doesn't have self-love is going to have weak boundaries. They're going to be people pleasers, and they'll put other people before themselves. They will be open to being manipulated and abused. They can often find themselves in abusive relationships and situations. Self-acceptance. What does self-acceptance mean to you? Let me know in the chat box. Being patient with your inner critic, yeah. Letting go of toxic shame. Accepting yourself with all your faults. Embracing your individuality. Accepting who you are and not being too hard on yourself. Being comfortable with your own company. Yeah. So self-acceptance is often seen as a major factor for good mental health. Self-acceptance is an individual's satisfaction or happiness with themselves. And self-acceptance involves self-understanding, a realistic, albeit subjective, awareness of your own strengths and weaknesses. So not having, super high expectations of yourself, not being a perfectionist, not being afraid to make mistakes. Knowing, one way that we can overcome this is by judging ourselves by who we were yesterday, as opposed to who we were compared to other people. So did you feel accepted as a child? Let me know in the chat box. No, no. Yeah. So would you have considered yourselves the black sheep of the family, or would you have considered yourselves a scapegoat? Scapegoat, yeah. Forgotten child. Okay. So in infancy, we need to feel welcome to the world. We need to feel accepted in the world. And the most important relationship that any infant has is with the mothering person, the caring person. And a healthy mother, healthy relationship with the mother, she's going to serve as a mirror for us. And the relationship with the mother is we're going to need our mother's mirroring eyes and echoing voice to discover I amness. So when we're babies, we're not an I. Until about the age of 3, we see everything as part of ourselves. And we don't become an I until we until we're like 13. So we need a healthy bond with our mothering person. And this creates an interpersonal bridge. And it's going to be the foundation for all our future relationships, even especially our relationship with ourselves. We're going to treat ourselves the way that we've been taught to, treat ourselves. We're going to parent ourselves the way that we were parented. So in these early years, we need healthy narcissism to be able to break away from our mother and explore the world. A good mother will love herself and she will have her own sense of I amness. An infant is going to need a healthy mirror. And they're going to feel what the mother feels. If the mother feels depressed or anxious, the infant's going to pick up on that and they're going to become depressed and anxious. So many people grow up with emotional abuse. An emotionally abusive person is going to invalidate your feelings. They're going to accuse you of being too sensitive. When you protest behavior, they're going to call you mad. They may deny things happen, say you're imagining stuff. An emotionally abusive parent is probably going to accuse you of being selfish. You don't want to do what they want. And an emotionally abusive parent will tell you they didn't raise you to be like this, or they never thought you'd turn out this way. So did you feel you mattered as a child? Let me know in the chat box. Not really, not at all. As children, many people are made to feel like their opinions don't matter. You know, they're made to, parents may say things like, you know, you're only a child, you don't have a say in it. So family roles, as I said earlier, regarding family roles. As children, we take on family roles as a way to matter within the family unit. These roles could be black sheep, scapegoat, superachiever, wonder child. And taking on these roles enable us to function and find a way to matter. And through reparenting the inner child, we can stop projecting these past experiences onto present situations. We can give up our family roles and get in touch with our authentic selves. So for many people, as we grow older, you know, family roles and staying in these family roles are a way for us to cover up and cope with our toxic shame. So if we don't heal this toxic shame, we're going to form shame-bound relationships and we're going to become codependent. So codependency, we're all born with equal access to the 4 Fs. That's the fight, flight, freeze, and fawn response. And if we are in a dysfunctional family, a violent family, we can't fight back because we're too small. We can't run away because we're reliant on our parents. Freezing isn't going to do us any good. So we learn to overdevelop our fawn response. We learn to put other people's needs before our own. And, you know, if we grow up in a family where one parent is, say, an alcoholic, we may take on the role of looking after them. So as we grow older, we're going to be looking for people to fix, or we're going to be looking for people to fix us. We're going to be looking to seek validation through our relationships. So relationships, adult relationships, you know, work relationships, they're going to mirror our childhood. If you had a dysfunctional childhood, you're going to develop dysfunctional adult relationships. So to be able to fully accept ourselves, we need to integrate all these shame-bound feelings, these needs and wants. Does anyone have any questions? Let me know in the chat box. Okay, thank you. Healthy narcissism. So, as I said, a child until the age of 3 sees everything as part of themselves. So they can't distinguish between themselves and their parents. They can't distinguish between themselves and the outside world. So once they start getting into kind of the age of 2, the terrible 2s, they start becoming more self-aware and they start beginning to, you know, break away from their parents. So in this kind of time, in this stage of their development, they need healthy narcissism to be able to feel comfortable to move away from their parents. And if those first couple of years of their life have been functional, if they felt loved and accepted, they're going to be able to do this without anxiety, without fear. If they have done it with, you know, if their early years have been dysfunctional, they're going to have anxiety about moving off on their own and, you know, taking those first steps. So hope that answers your question. Do people that have been through this ever have okay relationships? Yes, I'll come to that in a moment. If people get a sense of self if they're a twin, yeah, absolutely. I believe that they would. Yeah, it's very common, you know, a lot of people are very narcissistic. Okay, so coming to your question about forming healthy relationships. If we don't have self-love and self-acceptance, we're always going to be looking outside of ourselves for that. We're always going to be looking outside of ourselves for love. We're always going to be looking outside of ourselves to feel okay. And this can get us into abusive relationships. You know, if you don't have that, then it's like if you're thirsty and you're in the desert, you haven't got anything to drink, you know, dirty water's gonna look good. So if you don't have that, you're going to jump at, you know, the first person that makes you feel good, first person that makes you feel loved and accepted. So if you increase your self-love and self-acceptance, then you won't be thirsty. You won't be looking outside of yourself to feel okay. So there's lack of self-love, self-esteem, self-acceptance, and self-respect can also make us feel like we can't do any better, like we deserve to be treated badly, like we are not worth defending. Again, you know, a child internalizes everything. So if there is a lot of abuse, even if is everyone sound okay? Let me know. Even if there's a lot of arguing, they're going to internalize that. They're going to think it means there's something wrong with them. Thank you, Sandy. Thank you, Ash. So if we don't have self-love and acceptance, we're not going to enjoy our own company. Just being alone is going to make us feel lonely, and loneliness is going to be a feeling that's too painful to bear. Also, being alone is going to expose us to our inner critic and that negative inner voice. Again, you know, a child can't differentiate between themselves and their parents. They're looking to their parents to help them understand the world and themselves. So if their parent is abusive, if their parent's putting them down, calling them names, they're going to take that as the truth. They're going to internalize that. They're going to continue putting themselves down, calling themselves names, the same way that that parent did, you know, even long after the parent's dead. So to start healing from these issues, from a dysfunctional childhood, we need to give ourselves new permissions. And when we grow up in these kind of families, we don't always learn how to be nurturing. As I said previously, we'll parent ourselves the way our parents parented us. And this can make reparenting our inner child very difficult. And a wounded inner child will have been under or over disciplined. And being under discipline can be, you know, just as damaging for a child. And this can make them childish. So we need to learn to both nurture and discipline our inner child if we want to heal successfully. Your inner child needs to learn new rules that will allow them to flourish. And your adult self needs to gather new information about what constitutes good discipline and learn new skills for interacting with your inner child. Your adult self also has resources that your younger self didn't have. So your adult self has access to a bank account, credit cards, you're big and strong, so you can look after yourself. So we need to be able to break these old parenting rules, these old beliefs that we have about ourselves, and we need to give ourselves permission to be authentic and permission to play. So the following rules come from the John Bradshaw book, Homecoming. So first rule is that you can't heal what you can't feel. It's okay to feel. Feelings aren't right or wrong. Modern society teaches us to be ashamed of our feelings. If we feel anxiety, we're told that means there's something wrong with us. If we feel depressed, it means there's something wrong with us. There's certain situations where anxiety and depression are good things to have. The purpose of anxiety is to keep us safe, to help us if we're in a state of danger. If we're in a state of danger and we experience anxious feelings, those feelings are there to help us. The increased heart rate gets the nutrients and the oxygen flowing around our body so that we can either run away or stay and fight. Sweating, many people start to sweat more when they're anxious. The purpose of this is to get us ready for physical exertion that our unconscious mind thinks is coming. So again, depression can tell us that there's something wrong with in our lives, that we need to make some adjustments, maybe do something to try and find some meaning. So no one can tell you what you should or shouldn't feel. Rule number 2 is okay to want what you want. There's nothing you should or should not want. If you're in touch with your life energy, you're going to want to expand and grow. This, comes from like law of attraction philosophies, and they say that we're always looking to grow. The universe is always looking to experience new things through us. It's okay and necessary to get your needs met and to put your needs first. And it's good to be able to ask for what you want. It's good to ask for help. When someone grows up with a lot of dysfunction, they can become counter-dependent. So they can become not wanting to ask for help, wanting to do everything on their own, not wanting to appear weak by asking other people to help them. It's okay to see and hear whatever you see and hear. Whatever you saw and heard is about what you saw and heard. It's okay and necessary to enjoy lots of fun and play. It's okay to enjoy sexual play. Again, as children, we can get shamed out of feeling sexual. You need to give your inner child permission to feel those feelings. It's essential to tell the truth at all times. This will reduce life's pain, and lying distorts reality. All forms of distorted thinking need to be corrected. So it's in rule number 6, it's important to know your limits and delay gratification sometimes. This will reduce life's pain. Number 7, it's crucial to develop a balanced sense of responsibility. Accept the consequences of what you do and refuse to accept the consequences of what other people do. When we grow up with a lot of dysfunction, we can develop a state of learned helplessness and an external locus of control. So, as a child in a dysfunctional family, there's not much you can do, as I already covered when I spoke about the 4 Fs. So a child from such a family is going to develop an external locus of control, and they're going to have difficulty taking responsibility for their actions. Or they may feel that they should take responsibility for everyone else's actions. It's okay to make mistakes. Mistakes help us to learn. Other people's needs and wants are to be respected and valued. Violating other people leads to guilt and accepting the consequences. Again, you know, we're not responsible for how other people feel, but we should accept how they feel. How other people feel is, you know, none of our business. It's got nothing to do with us. Feelings come from within. As I covered previously, you know, an emotionally abusive person can blame you for how they feel. You know, say, how do you think you're making me feel? It's really like none of our business how they're feeling. That's up to them. It's okay to have problems. They need to be resolved. It's okay to have conflict. It needs to be resolved. As I say, those rules come from the book Homecoming by John Bradshaw. So starting on the 4th of October, I have an inner child program, which is a group program. It's going to consist of 4 group coaching sessions. All the sessions are recorded. So if you miss a session, or you want to download the sessions, watch them back at a later date, you can do that. I set up a exclusive Facebook group where you can get access to lots of exclusive content. It's going to be weekly exercises and a workbook. We're going to be looking to reintegrate all ages of the inner child, from infant to adolescent. We do this by letter writing, so writing letters to the inner child from the adult self, and writing letters from the inner child to the adult self. Other exercises you can do are write letters to your parents, tell them, you know, what you feel you missed out on as a child. It's not to give to them. You can destroy it if you want afterwards, but it helps to put these things in writing. So doing this kind of work can reduce anxiety. It can increase self-esteem, confidence, can help you to learn to control your impulses, reconnect with your emotions. Again, if we are shamed out of our emotions, if we're told that we shouldn't feel an emotion, or if an emotion makes us feel toxic shame, we're going to try and suppress it. We may try and suppress emotions with drugs or alcohol, or food is the most common method of suppressing emotions, emotional eating. So the usual price of the 4-week program is $199. I have an early bird price, which is £69 until the middle of next month. So if you want to find out more about that, you can book a call with me via my website. I shall be sharing the link with you shortly. Some feedback from people that have done the program previously. So, who wants to try some hypnosis? Let me know in the chat box. You often don't know how to ask for help. Yeah. Excellent. So have you tried hypnosis before? Let me know. Yes, yes. Yes, to quit smoking. Excellent. Okay, so there is the info to book a call with me and details of the 4-week inner child program. No, so most of you have tried hypnosis before. So hypnosis is a natural state that we all experience several times during the course of a day. If you've ever driven somewhere, got to your destination, not remembered the journey, that would be a state of hypnosis. You ever been watching TV, lost track of time, and when the program or film, whatever you were watching, finished, you realized it was time for bed, that would be a state of hypnosis. So it's a perfectly natural state. As I said, it's not something that's done to you, it's something that's done with your cooperation. So as long as you go along with my instructions and follow my voice, you'll have no problem going into hypnosis. So what I'd like to do first is some exercises to show you the power of your unconscious mind. So what I'd like you to do is place your hands out in front of you like so. Take a deep breath in, all the way down into your stomach. And as you breathe out, just allow your eyes to close. And then turn your left hand up, so your palm's facing upwards. And keep your right hand with your palm facing down. I'd like you to imagine in your left hand, we've placed some heavy leather-bound books, and that left hand is lowering down. It's lowering down with the weight of those books. And the right hand is rising up. Just imagine that happening now. The left hand lowering down and the right hand rising. Just imagine that occurring. Now when you're ready, leaving your hands where they are, open your eyes and just notice any difference between those. If you notice the movement between those hands, let me know in the chat box. I've never heard of psychodynamic hypnosis. Some movement, yep. Yep. Excellent. Yep, your left was lower. Fabulous. Okay, something else I'd like you to do. Once again, taking a deep breath in, breathing all the way down into your stomach. As you breathe out, just allowing your eyes to close. I'd like you to imagine that you're walking into your kitchen. And on the side, there's a nice, juicy citrus fruit. Could be an orange or a lemon, a grapefruit, whatever your favorite kind of citrus fruit is. I'd like you to just imagine safely picking up that fruit and placing it on a chopping board. And then safely taking a knife, cutting into that citrus fruit. As you're cutting into it, all the juices are squirting out. And then cutting into it again. So you're creating a nice bite-sized wedge. All the juices are squirting out and flowing down onto that chopping. And then picking up that wedge and lifting it up towards your throat, your mouth, biting down on it. And as you bite down on it, all those juices are flowing out and dripping down your face, and dripping off your chin. Just imagine that happening then. Then when you're ready, you can open your eyes and let me know in the chat box if doing that made your mouth water. Yes. Excellent. Yep. Yep. Dry. This is the power of your mind. Your mind can't tell the difference between a real or an imagined event. So by using hypnosis, we can visualize ourselves the way we want to be. We can visualize ourselves giving ourselves the self-love and self-acceptance. And by doing this, we can actually start to create new neural pathways in the brain. We can start to feel more self-love and self-acceptance. So, I'd like you now to just allow yourself to settle back. Once again, take a deep breath in, breathing all the way down into your stomach. As you breathe out, just allowing your eyes to close. Your eyes closed, you can just take a few moments to start to focus on your breath. Noticing the in-breath and the out-breath. Maybe seeing if you can notice yourself relaxing more as breathing in, breathing out. Maybe you can imagine yourself breathing in relaxation, breathing out any stresses, any strains, releasing and letting go. Maybe you can remember times in the past when you've been completely relaxed, completely at ease. As you continue breathing deeply, you can become aware of yourself, relaxing, letting. Maybe you can imagine your body muscles in your forehead just flattening out, releasing any tension. That relaxation flows down into eyes, eyelids, down into your cheeks and your jaw, down your neck, into your shoulders, down your shoulders, into your arms and hands, releasing, relaxing as it goes. Feeling calmer, calm. Any thoughts should come into your minds perfectly. You can just notice. Maybe you'd like to imagine placing them in a tiny bubble, allowing them to just float up, drift away. That relaxation continues to flow down your body, flowing down into your legs, maybe becoming aware of yourself, supported. That relaxation flows down into your feet, all the time releasing, letting, becoming more and more relaxed, more and more at ease. In a moment, I'd like you to imagine yourself in an escalator or an elevator. There's 3 floors. Each floor is going to allow you to become more and more relaxed, more and more comfortable. Start moving down those floors. Maybe you can imagine yourself pressing first button in that elevator, drifting down, down, maybe doubling that relaxation. Second button, being even more relaxed, completely, totally at the third button, really letting, going all the way down into the very basement, relaxation. As those elevator doors, escalator doors open, you're coming out onto the street where you used to live, where you lived as a child. I wonder if you can just imagine yourself walking down that street, seeing the house where you used to live. What colour were the windows, doors, and that? Walking towards that, going into that, maybe remembering the room where you slept as a child, maybe seeing crib, bed, living room. Maybe if you had a favourite pet, favourite toy. Just exploring that place. Really feeling that calm relaxation. Look around them. Finding a younger version, a child playing, sleeping, picking up that child. Maybe you can imagine yourself seeing through that child, looking at the adult version, sending yourself self-love, telling yourself love and accept yourself, telling that child that you're glad they were welcome to the world, telling them that you'll always be there for the only person that they'll never lose. And you can feel yourself filling up with that love, filling up with that acceptance. Just really experiencing that. If you want, you can take that child out of that place. Start walking back down that street, walking away from that place. Maybe your parents come to the door, turn back and smile and wave. Walking away, maybe finding some favourite place to play. Finding all your favourite childhood friends. Putting down that child, telling them that you'll be back to visit them regularly. Telling them that you make time for love and accept them. Or if you can imagine that child shrinking down, getting smaller and smaller, shrinking down at the that they can fit in the palm of your hand. Maybe picking them up, placing them in your heart, feeling that connection, feeling that love, accept, and leaving that place, walking back past first school, walking back, coming more and more into the future, more and more, seeing yourself a future time, in a future place where you have more self-love, more self-acceptance, maybe a situation that you'd like to be different, a place where you'd like to be different. See yourself there. Consider how increased self-love, self-acceptance allow things to change. How you could be different in places, time. Really observe yourself. Observe how you're acting different. Maybe you can imagine yourself connecting with that future version. Stepping into their shoes, seeing things through their eyes. Noticing how good you feel. Maybe behaving different in some way. Just consider what you've noticed. Notice those changes taking effect. How would things be different? How would things begin to change? Really feel yourself filling up self-love, self-acceptance. Feeling those feelings, connecting. Noticing how good it feels. In a moment, I'm going to count 1 to 5. When I reach the number 5, you can come back to the present, bringing these good feelings with the coming days and weeks. You can begin to notice that things have begun to change, that you have begun to change, and begin counting. 1, allowing any sensation, any feelings to return to your feet. Maybe you'd like to wiggle those toes. 2, as those sensations move up your legs, 3, into your body, down your arms, into your fingers. Maybe you'd like to wiggle those fingers, tense those hands. 4, and on the next number you can open your eyes, coming back to the present, noticing how good you feel. 5, eyes open, wide awake. If you like that, let me know in the chat. Yep, as I said, we can take on family roles as ways to matter within the family. One of those roles could be superachiever, emotional, One of those roles could be super achiever, so we could feel that we were pressured like that, absolutely. Emotional. Many of you found it emotional. Thank you. Thank you, Lynn. Glad to hear that. Okay, so does anyone have any questions? Anything you'd like to ask? Sorry to hear. Yeah. Did you all feel more self-love and self-acceptance? Did you feel any kind of changes in that regard? No, it's not difficult. It's the more you practice hypnosis, the more you're able to do it. The more you visualize, the more you're able to. It's like a muscle. The more you do it, the easier it becomes. Yeah. I mean, it's good to have goals, to know what you want from the future. If you don't know where you're going, it's going to be very difficult to get it. So if you can't picture that future version of yourself, it may be because you don't have a clear idea, you don't have a goal. So maybe take some time to consider what you'd want to achieve. The relaxing song I put on is it's called Zen Flow by a man called Chris Williams. Thank you. Excellent. Yeah, it is. Have I done the course myself? Yeah, I've been done a lot of inner child work myself, yes. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, with relation to my own story with inner child work, I suffered with a lot of anxiety, a lot of self-esteem issues. I had a very difficult divorce. Work was a projection of my family life. So I very much struggled with work, struggled to keep a job. By doing the inner child work, yeah, I'm able to overcome the anxiety issues, been able to overcome a lot of issues. Absolutely, it's helped me, yes. So yeah, so if you want to find out more, you can schedule a call with me there, or you can see details of the 4-week inner child program on my website. Does anyone else have any questions? Anything you'd like to know? Thank you.